What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more classical music, and we're continuing through the first Brandenburg Concerto of Johann Sebastian Bach. Thank you again to Vera and to Michaela and others who've been following the classical reactions. And the second movement of, is it BWV 1046? Yes, 1046. The concerto is in F. And the second movement is an Adagio. Now, as I think I wrote in the description, YouTube and the algorithm made sure I knew what I was dealing with, and apparently this is performed by I Musici or Musici. Either way, it's a conductorless ensemble that plays Baroque music. So yes, there's actually no conductor here, which I find very interesting. But the second movement, as I said, is an Adagio, so a slower movement, and I wonder the exact tenor of the movement. I will say, again, the Brandenburg Concertos I've been aware of for a long time. I've heard one or two movements over the years, and I think there's at least a couple included in the Best of Bach compilation that Yvonne shared with me, but I don't know any of them well, in the same way that, I know a Beethoven symphonic movement or something like that. So there may be a couple points as we go through these Brandenburg concertos where it's like, oh wait, this might be one of the movements I've heard before, but I can't think of them in advance. So yes, if that happens, it'll be a bit of a surprise. I will say also, I still plan on, after this first Brandenburg concerto, maybe finishing the two harpsichord concertos that I started. The same concerto, but with one harpsichord as the featured instrument, and the other version where the piano takes its place. But yes, after that we'll go through some more Bach, maybe another Brandenburg concerto. Obviously, the world is our oyster. I have so much classical music, and Vera has shared some, and Yvonne has shared some, and we have plenty more to go. But yes, that's the plan for the immediate future. Finish this Brandenburg concerto, finish off the two versions, and I'll probably do them in tandem, where the second movement from both versions of that harpsichord concerto, then the third movement of both versions, and so on. And as I mentioned, there's a violin version out there somewhere, so I'll see if I can track that down. But yes, Bach will be our focus for the coming weeks, and then eventually we can move on to something else. Here we go. This is the Adagio second movement of Bach's first Brandenburg Concerto, number 1 in F, BWV 1046, and as I said, it's performed by the conductorless I Musici. Beautiful. Definitely not only slower than the opening movement, but there was a gravity, a weight to the emotional character of this. I don't know if sad or forlorn is too strong, but I would say at the very least there is a heavy contemplative sound to this, and there's some tension, there's some unease, unrest, whether that is strictly psycho-emotional or whether, it's projected outward and it is about the environment, but certainly it's a darker tune than the opening movement, and I enjoy the different parts. Now, there's still an elegance, there's still a beauty in some of the particular instrumental performances and flourishes, and even more than that, I would say in the violin, it's like there's a glimmer of light or hope that comes across, but still, the overall mood, I would say, is heavier, darker, more worried than the opening movement. I do enjoy the woodwinds in particular. I think they have a really, enjoyable sound in this particular movement. I enjoy also, there were like some soft moments where you could hear the harpsichord supporting underneath. And yeah, just a lovely arranged tune, even if the feeling was heavier and with more weight to it. So yeah, an elegant track, one which had me contemplative, thankfully not too darkly, but it had me, sort of feeling the tune inwardly and outwardly. So yes, and again, shout out to I Musici, I Musici, I'm not sure, but yes, the performance I think is very nice, and all the players were like in a good place with the expression of their particular instrument. So yes, looking forward to the third movement, which in the moment I don't remember what type of movement it is, but while I'm still on camera I can check. So there's two more movements, an allegro and then a minuet. So looking forward to that. Oh, see, my mistake. Not only does it show the performance, yeah, so apparently the next one, number 2 in F, there's like a soloist, I guess, because it's listing someone in addition to I Musici. So once again, shout out to Vera. Like, all the metadata was here, but like sometimes I don't quite know what I'm looking at, and I'm just, looking at the first part where it's giving the indication of the catalog number and the movement type. But yes, we'll cross these bridges when we come to them. But yes, 2 more movements to go in this concerto. Do let me know what you think, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.